introduce LTI more. May I, sir? Sir?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching this promo video of LTI. It introduces LTI in a very brief time. I hope you must have been very glad to know the activities conducted by LTI. And one more value addition is LTI Ahilyanagar chapter. And I congratulate the chapter in advance because today we are having a workshop of a wonderful team empowering research excellence from writing to AI integration. And I'm very happy to have two experts who are renowned in their own fields. And this is truly a national workshop because we have a resource person from Bengal, Dr. Sumana, a hearty welcome to you, ma'am. And we have Dr. Anes from Kerala. So a chapter in Maharashtra has organized a workshop and there are two resource persons from two different states. And out of 190, I came to know from Dr. Satish that there are participants or registrations from nearly 11 states. So that truly makes or genuinely makes this workshop a national workshop. And the deliberations that we are going to have are going to be very significant and substantial considering the research around. As Dr. Anand Kulkarni also expressed the concern, on one hand, AI has brought so many wonderful things. Everything is on our palm, everything is available with our fingertips on one hand. At the same time, what we see, the contrasting picture is that most of the things are doctored. Being the research guides or teachers, we do not know whether the article, the research paper, the thesis, the project written by a specific academician or scholar is genuine or not. But then there are things to curb it. We have AI detection softwares, we have plagiarism checkers like Turnitin, now Drillbit, etc., etc. So what we pine for, aspire for, through your chapter, through LTI, and through our, I mean, it is the common goal, wherein what we are aspiring for, what we are thinking of, aiming at is research excellence. We don't want just research. You know, writing an essay also is supposed to be research, but we want to empower excellence. And we don't have the dearth of researchers. Still, why do we need China? Why do we need America? Why do we need France for most of the things? Why do we need again to research that has been done by others? Why can't we do significant research in language, in literature? Why can't we, why shouldn't we undertake extensive projects for translations? Don't we have talent? And when we try to answer these questions, the answer is affirmative, yes we have. But it is our phobia, it is our mindset, maybe enslaved mindset I would say, which says that yes, whatever is imported, whatever is foreign is good. So most of our research is on, say, William Shakespeare, too much of research on Shakespeare. Then we have got many other writers from European, American and other countries. Amidst this, what is happening is, after so many years, we still find that English is a difficult language in India. We don't call it a foreign language today. And yet, it is not a native language for us. It can never be, of course. There are families I have seen that they practice English as a native language. So it is no more a foreign language. It is no more that kind of third language, because we have got so many English medium schools. We have English introduced from the very first standard. We are children. If we have money, our children are there in English medium schools. Still, why English is a language which frightens us, that creates panic? And answer is this kind of workshop. The answer is the deliberations, the research done by dear research scholars who are 58 in number today. And when we address these issues, especially faced by the rural, tribal students, semi-urban students, then we get the answers through the research, which can be useful for making our country phobia-free for English. And then another aspect regarding literature is, there is lots of research output in regional languages. And today we have got NEP, National Education Policy. Through this, we should choose such writers which are from our folk literature, from tribal literature, from Dalit literature, from Adivasi literature, from women's literature. If we focus on these kind of areas, then definitely our research output will be different. There will be correlation between research, our needs and our life. I have done research on Jawaharlal Nehru's works. To some extent it is relevant because we have political science, economic theories, we have 5-year plans, so on and so forth. Yet if we do research on such things wherein the asmita of tribal people, the asmita of rural people, for example Bahinabai Chaudhary's poems, if we give them the international platform through English, I think that will be the real research. And dear friends, related to this is our conference, LTI conference, to be held in Bengaluru from 12 to 15 November. I'm just trying to open the website so that I'll be talking a bit about the conference, and thereafter we'll be talking more about research, and then we have Dr. Sumana and Dr. Anis who will be talking more about the specific themes, topics that have been given to them. So now I am sharing a website, LTI website, wherein we'll be seeing this. See, the main theme is lessons taught, lessons learned, teacher and learner narratives. And when we talk about themes, we have sub-themes, we have domains, we have subdomains. So see, here there are 7 domains. The first is teachers of English. Second, here you can go and click. It is learners of English. followed by educational and language policies, technology in language teaching and learning, the future of English, contemporary narratives in the literature classrooms, and the last one is rethinking reading in the age of AI. So dear friends, when we look at these themes, we feel that they are close to our heart. Anybody can write a research paper, anybody can present the research paper. Dear friends, tomorrow is the last day for submission of abstracts, and we have got very good response from academicians, researchers across the world. Many plenary speakers have confirmed their participation, most of them are from abroad. Dear friends, remember Bengaluru is a wonderful city, and Christ University, the host of this conference, is also a very reputed institute. So you please submit your abstracts as early as possible. Register for the conference. All the details are given on the LTI website, which is the homepage is before you now. There will be sightseeing also, and you find that schedule is also available. Highlights of this conference are also there. We are going to publish the papers in Scopus Journal as well. Besides that, as Dr. Shravan mentioned, we also have got journals. One of them was UGC Care listed. Now the list is not there. UGC Care list is no more available, or you may say it is dissolved. You'll find that our journals are reputed journals, and hopefully if your paper meets our expectations, if it is standard, if it is of good quality, then it will be considered for publication. Remember, there is no publication fee if your paper is published in LTI journals. Even we are trying our best to publish your papers free of cost in the Scopus Index journal. But remember, it should be of good quality. It should be free from AI. It should be written by you. It should be original, innovative, and must contribute to research in general. And we again have other journals, as I said, and as Dr. Shravan also mentioned, so your papers can be published there. All the details regarding paper publication, how the paper should be, the length, the font, this and that, everything is available on our website. Please visit it. Dear friends, when we are talking about research, when we are talking about enhancing research, yes, today we find that lots of research is doctored. We do not know the authenticity. So we should not overburden ourselves by sources. We should believe in our talent. When it comes to AI, artificial intelligence, and OI, I will call it original intelligence, we have to focus more on OI. AI will come and go, but we have to believe in OI. Yes, we have to, as Dr. Anand also said, we have to use AI as a slave. But unfortunately, it has become a master. It is affecting our creativity. It has badly affected different sectors. Students are not coming to the classes. They are using AI. Research scholars are copying, pasting. They are getting all the ideas there. I'm not saying that everybody is like that or everybody should like that, but we have to be very aware of the dangers that AI is bringing. And that's why we should believe in ourselves. For writing a research paper, it's not very difficult. For writing a thesis, it is not difficult. You have got Shodhaganga, you can go there, you can see how theses are written. Visit the libraries of very famous universities like Jaikar Library. Your Ahilyanagar comes in that jurisdiction, if I'm not wrong, Savitribai Phule, Pune University. So if you do this, if you read journals like Scopus journals or care listed journals, and if you go through the papers published there, you'll get the idea how the proper paper can be written. And the most important thing that you should ask yourself is how and what does it contribute to research? What is new? What is innovative? What is different? That difference makes a difference. And that's why I hope I wish, I pray, I give you all the best for publishing the original papers. Do visit Bengaluru for the conference, 12 to 15 November. You can start booking from tomorrow, today or tomorrow only. There is Karnataka Express going via Ahilyanagar. So we are all waiting for you in Ahilyanagar. I congratulate Ahilyanagar chapter of LTI for this wonderful inaugural session, at the same time for organizing this wonderful workshop. Already 51 minutes are over. So I wish the experts, Dr. Sumana and Dr. Anish, should take more time and should get more time. Hope there will be interactive session to answer your questions, to respond to your queries. Thank you, Dr. Satish, for inviting me, giving me this opportunity. I thank all others belonging to your chapter, all those who are present in this online meeting. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best.
Thank you,
Over to
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir. Over to you, Komal. Komal. Yeah, take charge now. You are there. Yeah.
Now let me invite us to the plenary session. I request to Dr. Desai CB to introduce resource.
Thank you. I would like to Chandrakant
Desai, sir.
I would like to introduce Dr. Anish Somraj. His academic qualification is
Sir, sir, are you unmute? Unmute असेल कदाचित. Mute. If he is audible, Desai sir is audible. बोला sir.
Yes.
Am I audible?
Okay. Continue.
Yes, sir. Yes.
His academic qualification is MA, MPhil, PhD. EFLU.
This is please increase the volume.
आवाज वाढवा तुमचा. नाहीतर इथं बसताय का 1 मिनिटात? बसा इथं बसा डायरेक्ट. 1 minute, sir, please.
There are 2 chapters we have joined with their members, and it is Kalyani chapter from West Bengal.
Am I audible?
Another- Yes, sir. Chandrakant Desai, sir.
I would like to introduce Dr. Anish Somraj. His academic qualification is MA, MPhil, PhD, EFLU from Hyderabad, CELTA from University of Cambridge, UK. He is assistant professor and research guide, Department of English, Christian College, Chengnur. His previous assignments are: he is interested in curriculum, NSQF and accreditation, additional skills and acquisition project, Government of Kerala from 2021 to 23. He has designed and developed aligned numerous courses with NSQF which are eligible for credits through ABC under the NEP implementation. He worked as Assistant Professor, Faculty of Education, Misrata University, Misrata, Libya from 2009 to 2011. As an English foreign language consultant, King Saud University, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia from 2007 to 2009. He is also associate editor for ELTI journal. His publications in UGC Care listed journals like JLA, ELT. His areas of interest are ELT, science fiction, machine culture, HR training solutions, curriculum design and content development, content curation across diverse mediums and platforms. I would like to Dr. Anish Somraj to continue his lecture.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's been a great pleasure. I hope I'm audible. Just wanted to check. Okay.
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Right. So, would I be able to share the presentation?
Yes.
Okay. So, I hope the slide's visible.
Yes, sir.
Right. Thank you. So, warm welcome to all of you. It's a great pleasure to be able to connect with such a luminary of different scholars and everybody passionate about English. It's with your great pleasure. I look at this as a great honor to be able to connect aficionados of language and to be able to connect them from across the country. I would like to thank LTI leadership as well as every single one of you for this opportunity. I hope I would be able to shed some light about my learnings and my experiences with research. So I'm sure that all of you have absolutely a lot of questions on the role of AI that can be used for research. So I'm assuming that everybody here has some stake in the question of research. The question is about how do we undertake research and what goes into it. So today we look in terms of the discipline in a totally different manner. What we see is that at one point of time it was possible that there could be a PhD written on let's say one particular book, and it is fine, it is accepted that we can have an entire study on that. But so much has changed over the period, and what we see is today a great development in terms of how the discipline has been moving forward. Now, I'll just quickly try to run you through what are the possibilities of a tech-driven world, where there is a possibility of things changing in a very, very radical way. How does research take up? How do we even start with the research? Today there are a lot of questions being asked. How is it that we are going to be able to develop research questions? How is it that we would be able to identify the research gaps, for instance? How are we going to find the materials for that? And a whole range of questions. So many actually find it quite overwhelming. So it's a very scenario where you have progress on two sides. One, it's the growing desire for undertaking research. Second is the part about how much technology has really become an important or it's an integral part of everyday research. And I would like to I'm really thankful for Professor Sabnis and also the principal invitee who inaugurated the session to talk about the apprehensions that we have. Now, how much of technology is okay? Should we allow it to continue, or is it that somewhere we have to draw a line? So I will just try to explore with you both the sides. What are the potentials and the drawbacks, as well as maybe explore very quickly a few tools to help people. So the first question is when we look at the role of AI in the present scenario, the question it raises is where does AI come in terms of research? So to begin with, AI is, like I said, it's about artificial intelligence, but an intelligence which has a limited amount of intelligence. Now, why is that? The point is that AI is actually the ability to think, but let's say within that of a child of 4 to 5 years old, nothing more than that. It mimics, just like a child learns any new language. AI also tries to mimic what human intelligence. So when it says it's an intelligence, that's a big question. Is it really intelligent? It's trying to become that. The transitions from the AI as into AI superintelligence is still evolving. It will take a long time. The part about AI is that these things move very quickly. The initial baby steps, they take longer, but with every year, what's happening is that they do things faster and faster. It's almost like human intelligence that a child learns the initial steps slowly, but as the child is able to make up for that, like the gestation period of a human child. So you'll see that the initial 1 year is very slow, but the advantage is after that, it moves very, very quickly. So we need to look at AI as a tool which is able to handle the basic routine tasks that you have. The kind of laborious, demanding kind of things. These are the things that you can easily get the AI as a digital apprentice. This is the way I would like to see the world. It's an apprentice. It is still learning. Right? You can't do the entire thing, but it's a big So it is not going to replace the essential skills that we have as human beings. And that's about critical thinking and the activity. These are two aspects which we call as the higher order intelligence, and it's just impossible so far for any AI to think about replicating. So essentially, we are some ways safe as long as your creative abilities and your
Okay,
critical
hello.
thinking are in position. It should not be a problem.
तुम्ही ज्याला इन्व्हाइट केलं
The
ना
second aspect I would like
second
to,
होता.
to keep in mind is that
नाही ना त्याच्यात बघा ना.
you might be using ChatGPT and various other tools, but remember, these tools actually are only a replication of certain things. Just like having a calculator
नाही, नाव असू देत की पण
does
ते
not make
तुम्ही फक्त इंट्रोडक्शन
able
करा
to understand your mathematics.
ते तुम्ही इन्व्हाइट करताना
So what is needed there is that
सुमन
it can do
तिचं
certain
पहिला
skills
नंबर.
and it can do it very rapidly. It's just like a calculator which can do lots and lots of
बोला.
calculations. But that doesn't make it better in terms of the understanding of mathematics. So what it needs to be understood that the human strength in literary research, like
येणं शक्य आहे.
any researcher, for example, it is the amount of time they spend in reading. But then what kind of reading? We notice that when they read, it's all about how much they understand. For instance, you would say and have people talking about let's say reading between the lines. It's never written there, but it's understood. So, even if it's the same sentence is said by each one of us, it can have a different meaning. It's almost like it's saying that you're going to marry them. It's a simple statement. You're going to marry the girl. But you will notice that
परीक्षा फॉर्म
the way you say it can
अजून
change.
सुटलेच नाही तर.
You know. For example, you
चालेल मी ग्रुपला आहे ना ती
I can't
ग्रुपला
imagine
मी
this happening. Or it could be like, you're going to marry
काय
that
नाही
girl.
ग्रुपला
You
येतो
know,
मेसेज
you just change everything. Really saying that you are fine, but the girl is a problem. So this is essentially this is the kind of insights which will come from a human perspective of understanding. So
खाली 8
as long
नंबरला
as
शिंदे
we are able
मग वर
to
52 नंबर
value these human aspects and strengths,
49 नंबर
literary
तर
research
50
will
नंबर आहे.
definitely be in safe
आपण
hands.
32ला
Because
आहेत का
understanding
बरोबर
the
कारण खाली असतात ते
ethical aspects of
मग
this,
त्याच्यामुळे
we will
कदाचित
not be
थांबलेत
able
का नाही
to
माहित
make much
नाही
progress. So
बघा
just
असतील
some of the
तर.
aspects that we will have to.
ओके काही नाही अडचण.
Secondly, I would like to keep in mind that it is the human activities that are unique, which AI would, even if it becomes a super intelligence, would still find it difficult.
एकाच
So
का
it's always better that
अरे
we
तू काय
use what we're really
सांगितलं
good
बरं
at.
असू दे काही नाही त्या
But
मॅडमचं
then the
परत
question
करून
is,
द्या.
what do we use AI for? Now, AI needs to be understood in terms of actually it's good for handling
आणि
data.
ते एकत्रित सांगताना
Now,
तसंच सांगितलं होतं.
what has changed with the
Can I
technologies
answer?
like AI is that you can actually have
Yes, sir.
extensive data and it's easy to work with them. Now, earlier, if you had a data of 300 or 500 people, it took a lot of time to process that. If you had to collect the questionnaires from inputs from 300, 400 people, it would take time. But today, all that is very, very easy because AI is able to do certain basic things very, very quickly, and in the way you can manipulate it is extensive. So, for example, any process, let's say there are 30 or 40 parameters or 24 parameters, you can get the AI to do the whole thing in a very short bit of time, and it can do it very clearly and accurately. So that's an advantage. So for managing the data and to streamline the workflows, it's definitely great.
बोल
So it doesn't matter if your classroom has 50 students or 5,000
Huh?
students. For the AI, it makes little difference. So
Got it.
for certain processes, definitely that is the way to happen.
बरं ठीक आहे ओके
So I'd just like to bring
आता
the
झालं का तुझं काम?
last
ठीक आहे.
aspect is about
Okay.
how we need to focus on the critical. I know today everybody's concern is that AI is taking away jobs. You open the newspaper every day, you get prompts like saying that AI has led to so many downsizing, or people have so many jobs have been 3,000 jobs, 10,000 jobs have been lost. And I'm sure everybody's question is like, will I lose my job? No, it's not going to be like that exactly. It's just one very, very superficial answer. The real part is that as long as your core areas are defined, essentially essentially what we call as being essentially human is still very much unreplicable. So what you can do is, as far as research is concerned, whatever is the laborious, repetitive kind of jobs which can be done mechanically, they can be actually handed over to AI, so that we focus on the more important things, the really essential things that come in, and the innovations that set us apart, the uniqueness that we build is actually really important. It is the insights that we make. Now, reading a novel in so many ways, that's not possible for AI to do. It's trained to do in certain ways, not replicate that, but never more than that. So, how does one go about looking at design as far as research is concerned? So, the first aspect that one needs to take into account is you can use AI to a great extent for brainstorming. Like your friend with whom you try out some ideas, and like something good, you definitely can try a lot of things. So one of the things that it helps is to narrow down the area of research. For example, by moving from very general topics to specific researchable entities. Now you can fix the parameters. So if you're working with, for example, the challenges of Telugu speakers in the states, for example, the condition of, let's say, using grammar drills in schools of Bihar, or you want to focus on the primary school education in Lucknow schools, for example. Now, it's a very important case. So, it's always helpful to use AI to narrow it down so that it becomes easy for exploration. Next is that it can be used for gap finding. So, there would already be a lot of cases around in the area. Use the regular search engines, you find multiple number of institutions. But then the question is, how do you find the gap, or how do you find that segment which really needs work on? So to sharpen the topic scope and originality, you can definitely use AI. It helps a lot. Next is the formulation of the thesis. The formulation of the thesis, because you need to give a thesis statement. How do you do that? You need to formulate it. It was a very laborious process. You have people sitting on months on that to actually working with the research guides and other experts, narrow it down and say, this is my thesis statement. The same thing can be done much quickly with the use of AI. Next is that there are various tools. Some of them we are going to try to introduce it very quickly. How is that we can synthesize the data? So there will be multiple overlappings which come in research. How do you bring them closer to one point? So we'll just say some of the tools that can be used for this. So, but essentially, you can bring tons of data very quickly in one space and identify it. So it's very easy to organize things. So it's like an enormously useful giant, helping you to move things and identify things. That's what it does. The next part is using large language models, or LLMs. Now what they do is they help you to create new arguments. So for example, when you're working in an area, in literature or in language, it's a very lonely pursuit. There are not many people that you know immediately, so you cannot try out your argument. Maybe something can go wrong. Maybe you want to find the flaws in the argument. Maybe you want to have your hypothesis and you want to identify weakness in that. And that's where LLMs are very useful for that, because they help you to, as a good sounding board, to try out the options and to find the weakness and look at the, let's say, the strength in that, and then make it better and so on. And lastly, it's easier to use LLMs to actually identify the current area of research. Earlier, we used to have to go to the libraries and various databases and look at manually what is the research already being done. We don't want to repeat the same thing. So these are areas where you have options like that. So I'll just take very quickly just to show you some of the websites and what can be used. Yeah, so if you look carefully, you will see that this is Elicit. Elicit is one of the websites which is an AI platform which helps you to identify the quantum of scholastic work done on that. So if you look even to Elicit, for example, you're able to look at, given a research question, I've just typed in one. So this is like, what are the implications of increased digitization and open access archiving for expanding participation and reshaping research trajectories function? So you give a question like that, and you can see how very quickly it looks at various sources. What are the options available? So what it does is it goes through extensive databases, and through that it tries to arrive at what are the best options there for them. So if you look carefully here, you can see how it is looking at various articles which are there on that. It explains, for example, what are the archives, libraries and collections where you have the materials on that. Where are the sites? DOIs are given there. And all these options are there. And then it looks at various articles that have come. So you have the bibliography, you can check each one of them, and it again then tries to look at and detail about each of these things. So you have the advantage is that you are able to very quickly have enormous amounts of resources. You can see how various things are being filtered. You can use this filters, which to narrow it down. Okay, so you can move it across. You want it only after a certain period, or you want it to be Q1 kind of a journal or Q2, or what are you looking at for meta-analysis or systemic review. Any of these aspects can be taken, and you can even put them by the word search. So it's, you can see how quickly it's possible that you can that all these articles are immediately identified, and you can work on those aspects. So this is and the same can actually also be utilized for developing a research report. So whatever you have given in that can actually be done in a very, very quick manner. So it gives you, you can even have a number of other questions that come with that. You could try multiple questions of that. Suppose you were to look at another question like, is literary digital archiving useful for us? You can try that question like that. So for which you ask for a research report on to what extent do we So here's a question: to what extent do digital literary archives and algorithmic curation replicate or change historic bias? So this is an argument that we would find. So you can look at, ask it to generate a report. So you can just ask it to come up with the feasibility study, for instance. So you can see that it is generating the report. It gathers 50 sources. It screens them or filters them, and very soon it tries to extract data. So the part is like, imagine like going through 50, 60 articles in notebook. You can just see how we are doing that, and we're just trying to look at that. What are the reports and how it can be developed. It takes a bit of a time because the topic is something which is very potentially viable. It would come in. So it can take maybe a few minutes. Alright, so that's the part about what we use Elicit for. I hope it's visible for everyone. Are we able to see that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. One challenge is that sometimes you get yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, right. I just wanted to be sure that we're all on the same page. Okay. So coming back, the next part is how do we read that? So the concepts that we have, being like reading between the lines, or what is implied. We talk about the implied meaning, literal meaning, implied meaning, and so on. So it is here again, you will see that a variety of tools are available which help us to do these things. So for example, you can use these computational tools to look at the entire let's say the cornucopia of literature. Suppose you want to look at poetries which deal with nature. So 10,000, 50,000, entire one, I mean, as much as you can put, the entire things can be studied. Earlier, if you had to work on 100 poems, it would take you a lot of time. Read the entire poem, then work on that and so on. But here, with AI tools, the advantage is that you can do entire, not just 1 or 2 novels or 100 novels, but the entire text. Imagine like being able to analyze for the last 5,000 years. You can still do that. It requires much computing, but the options are still possible. Next is that you can identify the trends, the changes that are happening, and what is the research outcome. So you can explore the changes for the next few years and see how these changes are actually creating an impact. So for example, if you wanted to look at what is the work being done, I just introduce you very quickly to the sites which are there. These are sites again which are outside the purview of any of the paywalls. So you have the Shodh Sindhu. It's a consortium which is for higher education electronic resources, and maybe your college already is a member of that. Most of the universities are part of that. So even the state universities are very much a part of that. So you can just try or maybe Maharashtra. So yes, great. Your college, university is definitely a part of that, and you can see that their resources are available. So that means your college will have already an access to all the journals which are there, or the articles which are there in this the Shodh Sindhu database. So that means even if the article that you're looking for is in a paid website, the Shodh Sindhu will ensure that through your university or college you have access to these articles. So there is so much happening in that way. Next is the application process. Now, how do we do that? The part about these tools is that it's possible they run on a variety of databases where already the thing is done for you. You don't have to do much on your own, but these things are already there. I'll just for this try to introduce you to another site which is called the Consensus. Consensus is an AI app. So this is the app where you are looking at how to have an extensive study. So if you are looking at a long-term kind of prospect, like for example, stylometric or computational attribution models, for example, how does intertextuality work in literary studies? Something like that. I'm just putting a dummy topic. This helps us to look at these tools in a much more critical way. What it does is that we get a chance to do a lot of things very quickly, but then remember that the insights that it gives are still to be done by us, but it gives you a lot of manual, let's say library work which is there, like going through different databases and so on. This can be done very quickly. So you can see here how quickly it is identifying authorship attribute, for example. So earlier you had to read tons of books which will have, and you had to have challenges in that, but here these things can be done far quickly. So genre classification. How do we think about, for example, let's say the instance about what post-humanism, or for example, you wanted to talk about the Bildungsroman, for example. How does this technique operate in novels? So here you suddenly see that entire hundreds and thousands of books, it has access to that. It does certain kind of reading. Have some kind of insights. Now this is, the idea is that this insight can help you to formulate your own research questions better. This is one of the models that you can see. So you will see that you can have these filters where you can ask it for every time period. Always the context is very important. So ensure that you check for a certain number of years, or you can even exclude, let's say, preprints. We'll come to preprints a little later, but this is some of the journal rankings, some of it. And you can talk about methodology, how you want to do that. It can be literature review and other things. So based on this, it's possible that you can look at these details and get the Next is, it's also, AI is not reading really. That is the question. That is something which you should be very, very careful. AI does not read, but it's actually what we call a distant reading. That's actually Franco Moratti doing that. What it does is it looks for patterns. Sometimes when you see a certain kind of banana or let's say chapati on which there are certain designs on it, now, suddenly you may think, oh no, there is a familiar face on that, or it looks like this actually. It looks you have the figures that come in. So this is what AI does. It looks for patterns. It is attached, but nothing more than. So you understood. Keep in mind that that's what it does. It looks for patterns and it can do that, but it can be deceptive. So the next set of AI as a tutor, that is how does it really help the writing process? So what it does is actually, it helps us to start writing. Writer's block. When you sit down to write in play, you said, okay, I'm going to write 10 pages today, but you can't write more than a page. So it is this part that really makes a difference.
So,
How
जो
to
होता है
overcome these
जास्त आहे
aspects. So that is where you have various tools that you
3:30
can
वाजले.
do
जेवा.
that. And how do we really
अर्धी.
work on these things?
हो का
So you can actually look at the process of writing, and
कुठलं का?
it can help it
खरंच
to
खातं.
make the writing fast, writing quickly, and also writing precisely. So that's where you can use that.
तुम्ही काही साऊंड इकडला आहे पाणी इकडं व्हिज्युअल इकडे.
So, for example, when you start writing, you might want to look at certain areas like, let's say, the style of writing. That could be a music question. So that is where I think it's good to look at, various resources, for example. Now, one major challenge that we have is that we may find the articles online, but they stop you from using it because there's a paywall. So one option is to go to eShod Sindhu, that is one. But suppose it is still not there, So one option that you can use something called the unpaywall. Now what happens in the unpaywall is you just have to install that into your browser, and you will see that even the highly paid journals, you get access to that. So this is like the Nature magazine, which is a very quite expensive one to get into. But through unpaywall, you get access to all the details that you have. So these are the options that you can try to explore. So unpaywall is definitely something that you can try to have. So for example, this is the Nature magazine's article. So suddenly see that even though it's a paid article and everything else, you can directly get access to that through unpaywall. Now, once you start looking at the style, there are other various options there where you can have assistance from the technological tools. For example, you can use sites like you have Zotero, Mendeley, Paperpile, and others who help you with the citation. Now, when you start writing your dissertation, a major challenge is remembering the data. Where did I get this article from? Who wrote it? Which year is its publication? What is the publisher's details? How do you have the bibliography in place? How to give a proper citation? So, any of these sites like Zotero, Mendeley, Paperpile is pretty efficient in that way. It is able to actually get things done in terms of data bibliographies very quickly. And it can even get you different formats. It can be APA, or it can be MLA style sheet, and you can very quickly switch over between them. So, anything, essentially, preparing a bibliography is a very rapid process. So the time fixed. If it's going to be a digital citation, the process is fixed. So even if you have 10,000 or 30,000 bibliography, for AI it is relatively easy. So it helps you to reduce your burden quite a bit. Next is the part about drafts, for example. When you start writing drafts for dissertation, the major challenge is you have to polish them to make it publication. You need to try different combinations. Sometimes you write them, sometimes you want to make it shorter, maybe you want to bring technical more details into that, maybe the technical draft. All these things, it's possible that you can have the access with technology, with AI in this case.
सिलेक्ट करा आणि
Now,
खूप
while all these things are quite handy and quite welcome, I would just like you to sort of warn you about the kind of things that we do. For example, see, AI is only a good servant and a bad master because you can't trust AI completely. The reason is that, like I said, going back, AI has the intelligence of like a 4 to 5 year old. It cannot distinguish between that. You know, it doesn't have the wisdom. It's intelligent in a certain way. It's like a 4-year-old, 5-year-old child. They can do certain things, but don't mistake that for wisdom. It's intelligence, but not wisdom. Yeah, that's the kind of a thing that we have to ensure. Because you know, if you use AI and use it as an original work or present it as your own work, then it's academic fraud or academic plagiarism. Because the AI tools, it doesn't give always facts. Yeah, that's fine. There was recently a particular controversy which came in University where I teach, where there was a poem of Neruda which was put up on the website. And this poem actually never was really written like that. So what happened was somebody was searching for the particular poem to be used, but the AI could not find it. And because of which something happens. Based on that, it projected that as the actual thing. Yeah, so this is the that happened. So the Kerala University included textbook, English, you are a language, and it was supposed to be written by Pablo Neruda, but actually it was generated by AI. And you know, the kind of disasters that it resulted in. So it's just to tell you that AI can do a lot of things and it can be very handy, but let's say hallucination, or it is not the best authentic source. You have to check for the original yourself. So these are the aspects which are quite critical and need to pay attention. Essentially, critical thinking, contextualized reflection, or developing your own insights based interpretations, this cannot be done by AI. AI is as a good servant, but it's a very bad master. So you can use AI, but you must ready to ensure that you are protecting yourself critically and ethically to ensure that there is academic integrity. So just for your quick recap, for your convenience, I have included the couple of AI tools that are there. So for designing research, brainstorming, gap finding, and thesis conceptualization, you have sites like Perplexity, Elicits.org, Claude, and others. These are some of the readily available sites which are there. Most of the part they have is available for free, but there is always the option of taking the professional version because they can be quite useful. So if you are interested in that, you can try the initial version, and if necessary, you can go for the paid version. But most of the time, the frameworks are pretty good. Next is when you want to, for the analytical part, when you want to look at the formulation of sentences, you want to look at more critical questions, let's say distant reading or corpus analysis, or maybe you want to have the data and you want to get very good, you want to use, let's say, data, analytical studies based on particular data and data that is collected for, let's say, 2,000 students or so. You can use these tools like AntComp and Buoyant. Voyant is also one which helps a lot of data to be crunched very quickly. So it gives you instant access. Very quickly. Next is the writing process. Of course, we have seen some of them. So there is, we are all familiar. In fact, all tutorials ChatGPT. Then there is Grammarly, Zotero. Zotero is actually one which helps you to see these things as this very quickly. And if you want to look at types of research papers or the dissertations, for example, even the paid versions like the MIT library, for example, we have a segment which is called the D space, where you can actually look at different dissertations available there. Doctoral thesis, you can just check them and ask for, let's say, intertextuality. In, let's say, James Joyce. And you can get them to run a search on that. Now, the advantage is even for websites like the MIT website, which they also provide a lot of things where you can try some of them. So, that's yeah. So if you want to develop more refined shirts, there are many filters which can do that. So these are websites where you can look at segregation morphology. So you have the access to the entire dissertation as such. You can, this is from MIT. It's on derivation morphology, for instance. So you can see that and you can download the entire thing. Imagine that. Being able to read the entire dissertation even of that. For further studies, so for example, even if it's, for example, there are lots of new options coming up. So if you look at, for example, these are websites where you can definitely find that. Hello? 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 I hope I'm still there. I hope it will get through. Okay, fine. So I'm just coming towards the very end. These are some of the elicits, Claude, Voyant. These are some of the tools which are there, but they'll never be a replacement as such. So just to give you very quickly on these things. So how does this function? So one is that they help to accelerate the literature review, so that what could take possibly months can be done very quickly in a couple of days, and you have better access to identifying the gaps and making it viable. Next is you can look for patterns. You know, if you're dealing with maybe 100 novels or 1,000 novels, it's for that as far as they are still okay. Next is it supports your writing in a great way. So whether it's being generating in data clearly, helping you with different styles of writing, these are all things like that. You can always use a sounding book. Then citation, that can be quite tedious. Sometimes the last one, even you're trying to submit, you will realize that you don't have a couple of citations, and having no citation, not being able to look at this. So these are just some of the aspects of it. Next is only one has to be careful that don't be over-reliant on them, because that can be dangerous. The ethical concerns like plagiarism, data fabrication, these are very critical, serious issues. So always pay attention. You can use them, but they come at a cost. That's sometimes expensive. So remember that AI can do many things, but it can never do the equivalent of a human. It cannot, because it is not. It's only a replica, but it's trying to imitate. It's just like art is an imitation, just like that. So use it to support it, make it better, but not to replace art. So there are lots and lots of possibilities of how research can be developed. You can try more aspects of that and new progress possible. But the question is, what do you do with it? That is the ultimate.
हाँ
So if there were any questions on this tools or how do you want to have questions on that and all of that.
असेंब्ली हाँ कोपरगाव असेंब्ली म्हणायचं
Time. I hope I will be able to give you some more insights in your questions. So, the floor is open for questions.
ते नॉर्थ रिजन प्रमुखच आहेत ना आता डायरेक्ट सल्लागार काय गरज आहे ही प्रेसिडेंट नॉर्थ डिव्हिजन रयत शिक्षण संस्था सातारा चेअरमन काय नाही अडचण कुठलाही शब्द सांगा नॉर्थ रिजन
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable and practical guidance. Now, I would like to request Dr. Suman Bandopadhyay. She will speak on writing abstracts and research papers.
Before that, her introduction is remained. I request Mr. Desai to just introduce her, and then she will start. Yeah.
कुठं कुठं कंटिन्यू करा सर बोला आवाज
एक मिनिट
Good afternoon. I would like to introduce Dr. Sumana Bandopadhyay. She is an assistant professor at Netaji Subhash Open University, West Bengal, India. She is a graduate from the Historic Sanskrit College, Kolkata. She did her master's in linguistics from University of Calcutta and PhD from Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur. She teaches ELT to postgraduate learners at Netaji Subhash Chandra Open University for a decade. Her previous books include Indianization of English, Recent Trends in English Language, Teaching and with Professor Julu Sen, and Design of English Language, Teaching with Professor S. Mohan Raj. She has over 20 publications as self-learning materials for postgraduate and DLT learners published by the university. Dr. Bandopadhyay writings are built on her experience teaching in degree, diploma, certificate and short-term courses. Besides writing, she is presently publishing OER materials for all the 5 English language teaching courses offered by the university. She has published a book, chapters and research papers in reputed peer-reviewed national and international journals of ELT and linguistics. Her areas of research are language acquisition, digital pedagogy and distance and online learning. She is engaged in research on online learning in schools from the districts of West Bengal. I would like to request Dr. Sumana Bandopadhyay to continue her lecture.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. May I share my screen? Yes, ma'am. Is my screen visible to you? Yes, yes. So, my topic is writing abstracts and research papers, and before I begin my talk, I would like to thank ILTI Ahilanagar for inviting me to speak on this occasion, and I am also very pleased and also very enlightened by the talks which I heard just before. Thank you for all your valuable inputs. In my talk, I will be talking on two aspects. The first aspect is of course on abstract writing, and second is on research paper. Since most of you are college students or you are going to write papers for national and international journals and conferences, so let us just review what our LTI asks for writing an abstract. In LTI, if you are writing an abstract, from the website you can see that the abstract has to be of 150 words. And what is this about? What is this? This abstract is a concise summary of your entire research paper, and it stands alone so that the readers can understand your study without reading the full paper. So you should be very, you should be clear about this, that your abstract is presenting your paper in a summarized form. It is not an introduction or a proposal, it is a snapshot of So, in LTI, you have to write three keywords and also words, written in 12-point font, and there is a specific margin measurement, and also the line spacing has been signaled. So, wherever you are submitting your abstract to the conference or to a journal, please follow the guidelines. Okay, this is very important. So, abstract makes whose mic is making noise, please mute yourself. Okay, thank you. So abstracts make the first impression. So they are different with times. Okay, they act as filters which help readers to decide if your paper is worth their time and whether it is accessible at the first glance. Your abstract is not a powerful research, powerful ambassador. Okay, it just tells the world what you've done. So if you want to tell the world what is my mic making this noise? Thank you. Please mute yourself. And it also increases, the paper's visibility and fosters engagements and citations within the research community. So your abstract actually connects you and your research to the research community, and abstract also tells important information about your research which can be accessed and read by other scholars. So abstract has 5 parts. What are these parts? These parts are: number 1, background. You will have to tell the context and the problem which you are addressing. You have to tell the purpose, why, and what gap has been filled. You will have to. So Anish talked about a gap. This gap is of course on theoretical models. We talk about this, all these points later on. Methods. Number 3, that is research design and approaches. Results, that is the key findings and the data outcomes. And conclusions, that is implications and significance. So from the word limit, you can easily find out that all of these have to be written in 1 or 2 sentences. Okay? Background 2 sentences, purpose 2 sentences, methods 2 sentences, result 1 sentence, conclusion 1 sentence. Okay? So this is the actual layout or comprehensive overview of the components. Now let us come to crafting your abstract, the best practices. Okay, so usually we as researchers, we try for, we have something in mind. We understand that we have seen some problems, some significant language behavior, and then we go for collecting data. So research begins with collecting data for us, classroom. Then what we do, we try to analyze it, and at the last we go for writing it down. So writing is the last part, and
at the last, you are very clear what you are writing. Your language has to be precise, there has to be no jargons, or even if there are, then that has to be clarified or self-contained. The acronyms have to be explained, and this has to be done for broader understanding, because somebody who is reviewing your abstract will go for peer review, a blind review, and then somebody who is reviewing your paper or your abstract might not know, okay, the jargon or the acronym which you have used, some special term which you have coined, some framework which you have suggested, okay, which you have proposed. So what you have to do, you will have to make your write-up self-contained. For that, you will have to go for explaining. So you should not use, if the abstract has to be of 150 words, then you should not use all of these. You can use it in your paper, in the main text, okay? But do not use it in your abstract. And also, do not include citations, figures or tables within the abstract itself. These are not there usually in the abstract. Okay, these are there in the main paper, in the results and discussion of the main paper. Next, I come to the abstract types and structures. You know, when we completed our research, when we have already conducted our data collection and analysis, we write an informative abstract. Why? Because it tells about the results and conclusions. The abstract which tells about the results and conclusion is an informative abstract. An abstract which does not is a descriptive abstract. So this is an abstract. The descriptive abstract is written at the beginning of research. Okay? It does not deal with results or conclusions. It only informs the reader about the paper's scope and subject matter. You will find some descriptive abstracts in LTI also. Okay? But there are many informative abstracts also, and these are generally full papers. People who are submitting full papers will submit informative abstract, because this will allow to grasp the study without reading the full paper, because we have talked about the results, the conclusions, the methods, the background, everything. So you should select, or the researcher should select appropriate abstract style based on the discipline's conventions and specific publication guidelines. Now I move on to writing the research paper. There is the bigger picture. So we started with the abstract. Okay, abstract comes at the beginning. Your abstract offers a condensed overview of the full paper and provides the comprehensive detail. After that, what will come? After that, IMRAD will come. What is IMRAD? I is introduction, M is method, R is result, and D is for discussion. So the parts of the paper are introduction, methods, results and discussion, and finally conclusion. So what does all of these, represent? There has to be a coherence between all of them, and every claim made in your abstract must be thoroughly supported and elaborated upon within the paper. So this is bringing parity between your abstract and your paper. Whatever you have suggested in your summarized form will be elaborated in your paper. But there are some common pitfalls to avoid. What are these pitfalls? Your paper should not say this paper will or this paper will in future. So this is use of future tense. Do not use future tense to summarize completed work. It should be in present tense. Exclude citations or unexplained acronyms. Keep it self-contained. I talked about self-contained little while ago. There should be a balance between the detailed and precise of the write-up. So your paper should not be too vague or should not be overly detailed. If you are going for overly detailing your paper, then what will happen? You will get too many parameters. Okay? Usually DLT is a empirical study at the beginning. For researchers, it is, you get too many variables, then it will become overly detailed, and you have difficulty in, studying those details. So you should not be overly detailed, or it should not be too vague. It should be precise. Excuse me. And it should adhere strictly to the publication guidelines. If you are ignoring the publication guidelines, then you are getting into the risk of rejection. So do not do that. If you want your abstract to be accepted, then abide by the publication guidelines. Okay. So what are the real world impact? The abstract opens the doors for standing out in journals, okay, making your paper noteworthy among thousands of submissions. For conference selection, your abstract is vital for showcasing your work globally, has to be selected in the conference. Okay. Then, other than these two, there is another factor, that is securing funding. A compelling abstract can help secure major grants. Okay. So writing an abstract is a skill which all of us should develop. Now your next step is to write with confidence. So the first draft is complete your full paper, then distill it into a powerful abstract. First you're writing the paper, then you're going to write that abstract. Next what you do, you seek feedback. Generally we send to somebody who is an editor over here. If there is a committee in your department, if there is a publication committee or some senior person who can check your work, so you seek feedback. Consult mentors or writing centers for constructive critique and improvement. Okay, there might be some grammatical errors, there might be some conceptual errors, there might be some sentence construction errors. Okay. So, or maybe putting your thoughts into paper, that some lack over there. So for that, you need to consult mentors, and also you have to be an ambassador. Okay, that is, remember, a great abstract is your research primary ambassador to the world, and if you craft abstract, perfectly, then you truly open doors to discovery and cognition. So, other than this, let us come to an example. Suppose your topic of research is learning difficulties in primary school children. Okay, the factors which are contributing to the learning difficulties. So, what should you do first? First, you should look into the research objectives. Okay, what do you mean by research objectives? Research objectives are clear and specific goals which outline what your study aims to achieve, what your study aims to solve, okay, and it also guides the entire research process from data collection to conclusion. So research objectives should be there at the beginning of your write-up, of your research, of your investigation, of your data collection, data analysis, everything. So you should have a research collection objective first. Then comes theoretical foundation. Now once, for example, here I have taken primary school children, okay, child language acquisition, or in other terms, I have to look for theoretical foundations which are there, already existing in that field. So if you go for child language acquisition or learning difficulties among school children, you will have to look for the theories which are there. Beerist theory by B.F. Skinner, or Inetus theory by Noam Chomsky, or interactionist theory, or socio-cultural theory. I would suggest, if I had been the research scholar over here, then I would have gone for the socio-cultural theory. Why? Because the SCT, talks about language acquisition that is mediated by cultural tools and that is mediated by social engagement. And also the interactionist theory, which emphasizes the interplay between innate ability and environmental input. So if we, for example, take Piaget's first developmental stages, okay, this is another theoretical name over here, that language develops through social interaction and cognitive growth, then we'll have to look for classroom-based studies and studies on primary school children. After I have done this, I will go for the key contributors, okay, the key scholars who have been working on this, or whose work is already there, and I want to find a gap from that. So I have to go for a literature which already exists. The am quite sure that some of you already know about this, who extended the socio-cultural theory to classroom interaction and collaborative dialogue. We need to look at what they had done, what findings they came up with, okay, whether we can take some insights from them, whether it is applicable to my context and my learners. Okay, all these questions are there. And then comes, of course, Light Brown and Speda's work. Okay, this is research on socio-cultural perspectives in classroom language learning. We also have bilingualism, study on bilingualism, because when we are studying school children, we need to investigate, or we need to consider bilingualism and its identity, okay, through the socio-cultural, perspective. So Pavlenko worked on this, and also Lapkin et al. Worked on, understanding how learners internalize language through social interaction and so on. So these are the scholars who have already worked on it, and these are the theoretical insights which I was talking about. Now, when I have talked about the theoretical foundations, I come to the key insights. The key insights means I need to now focus on what they have suggested, or what they have come up with. What are the points which I can draw from them? Okay. And you need to understand it in a gist. So, when we are talking about second language acquisition, probably you know that we need to learn about critical period hypothesis, second language acquisition in children, instructional context, context and language integrated learning, or focused from interactive instruction and so on. And these key insights, we need to then check whether we can use them for our research, okay? How much of it is applicable, what new methods needs to be designed, okay? What new framework has to be, or what new terms or innovations have to be brought in, and all these factors. So this is what my research will talk about. If there is something new, then I have a paper. If there is no innovation in it, nothing new in it, then it is not a paper. You should have at least one new finding, okay, one new answer to the problem, to prove that you have written a paper, you have found something, you have worked on something. So next comes the methodology. So methodologies, I have kept 3 things, 3 points. The first point is longitudinal study, second one is experimental design, and third one is child-centered research methods. Am I going too fast? I hope this is, by itself a very complex thing. I hope I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible, okay? You tell me. If you have any questions, you can ask in between. Okay, I know this is not your field, okay, so let me just talk about the longitudinal study. This is common for every field, okay? A research method that involves repeated observations or collecting data from the subjects. So you are collecting data across the batches, across the years. Okay, data, for example, how the native language pronunciation affects the target language pronunciation, or the native language phoneme, has evolved into the target language phoneme pronunciation over extended periods of months, years, even decades. Let us say I'm not describing you, let us not say decades, okay, over months or years. You are looking at the same batch at the beginning of the term, the end of the term, or you are looking at 2 or 3 batches across the years. Then what will happen? You are repeatedly observing or collecting data, and this design allows researchers to track the changes and developments within the individuals or groups. So if you are going for repeated observation, then it is longitudinal study, and thus then very comprehensive data. Okay, and this is a very long and comprehensive method which can suggest cause and effect relationships. So when you are studying something for a long period, you have been pretty sure, or you have sufficient evidence or data with you to prove your point, and nobody can, and all your data can be retrieved, okay, and confirmed. So you have lots of proof with you to claim your hypothesis. After that, what you do, you go with experimental designs. So you have to plan, and then you have to seek answers for the research questions, the validity, efficiency, and economically. You will have to define your variables, form a hypothesis, and establish the procedure for observation and measurement. Okay? So you can take help of statistical tools. I thought Anit sir will talk about some statistical tools. Okay, AI will help us, but unfortunately they are not free, open source. They are mostly paid. So I think Anit sir didn't talk about them. He was talking about all open source materials, and I am happy that he did. So, in experimental designs, you have to go for statistical measures, for example. So you might need statistical literacy for this. And when you are conducting empirical studies, okay, like classroom observation for ELT the field, then you will have to define your variables and form a hypothesis. So you might say that certain method, okay, total physical response method is working. Then you say total physical response method is working for heterogeneous groups. Okay. Then you say it is working for heterogeneous groups, but it doesn't bring sufficient amount of output. So in that case, the point which you said at the beginning was working gets nullified, or there has to be an alternative hypothesis for it. So in the first hypothesis, you say total physical response is working for heterogeneous groups. Then you say total physical response method is not working for then you test your hypothesis and find whether your hypothesis is true or false. If your hypothesis is true, then you can form your conclusions on that. So this is experimenting your design. And the third point is child-centered research method. This honors the children's voices. Since we are working with school children, we need to be very creative, okay, in honoring their voices or their experiences. We need to collect data. These methods include photo elicitation, drawing exercises, storytelling, using art-based techniques, mental mapping, and so on, so that your data is, you get the rich data, the accurate data from your subjects who are children. Because children, most of them, if you go and just interview them and come back, you might not get the data or the information which you are seeking. So for them, you need child-centered research methods. So this was all about the methodology. Now let me come to the last slide. My last slide is results and discussion. After this, I come to results and discussion. In results and discussion, I have kept 3 points again. These are motivation and identity, digital environments, and bilingualism and code switching. So let us see one of them, okay, all of them one by one. So first is motivation and identity. So since we are working with children, emotional drivers like empathy, cultural curiosity play a great role, in the language acquisition process or in research on language acquisition. So there has to be motivations, and you have to then design your data collection tools. In that way, you have to use art-based techniques and so on, so that will motivate the students. There is a lot of work on this, about scholars who have used art-based techniques. You can look for them from the internet, from the Google. Digital environments, and Anit sir was already talking about AI, and today technology is increasingly part of the language learning landscape, raising questions about screen-mediated interaction and multimodal input. Okay, we use lots of AI tools, open source materials for teaching purposes as well, and thus the AI has also is gradually becoming part of the language learning process for all. Today it is not for all, it has very limited applications, but this is going to, slowly it will increase, and our methods of teaching has vastly changed for this. Classroom applications have vastly changed for this. So multilingualism and code switching. So children in bilingual setting often develop fluid language practices. They are learning, they are using both their mother tongues and the target language for learning the target language, or bringing in words or sentences or pronunciations, or performing in the target language. So how bilingual settings are used, and the challenge is the traditional models of linear acquisition, how this is challenging. So in the traditional model, there was only linear acquisition, but when we are using more than one language, when we are using, the mother tongue as well as the language of the region or the language of the context, or using it as or applying it as a tool for language learning, then the traditional model of linear acquisition has become non-linear. Now, non-linearity is the tradition, is the norm. Okay, being non-linear is the norm in language acquisition. So, first I had talked, what did we talk about? First I talked about the abstract. Okay. Then I talked about the components of the abstract, that is background, purpose, method, results and conclusion. Okay. And the purpose for each of them, why you should write on this, 1 or 2 sentences in the abstract. Then I talked about how to write your abstract, the best practices, and I talked about 2 kinds of abstracts, that is the descriptive abstract and the informative abstract, and how to write the paper. So the introduction, methods, results and so this was all about my presentation. I hope I have kept it simple. I mentioned it again. If you have any questions, you can ask me right away. Open your mic, switch on your mic and ask me, or put it in the chat box. I will be happy to answer them. Thank you for listening. Can I stop sharing?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, madam. So, if you have doubts, please ask, ma'am. Yeah.
I hope I am in time.
Yes. Yes.
Let me check the chat box. Are there any questions? Would you please supply us with today's speech? Would you please supply us with today's speech? Okay. Thank you, Dr. Shomraj. Yes, of course. I had some questions for Shomraj. Is Professor Shomraj around? Dr. Shomraj around? I didn't ask because I was the next speaker. So can I ask you, or you are not with us? Or you're not with us. Okay. Anyway, so if you have any questions, you can ask me, so that the organizers might end it. They have started at 2 and it's already 4:10, 4:09 now.
Yeah, if there are no questions, then Sabnis sir, are you here? Sabnis sir? Okay, Komal, go for vote of thanks then. Let us go to the conclusion. Before that, let me share one link in the chat box, which is for filling the feedback, and based on that you will be given certificates. Also the certificates or the letters of invitation and thanks letter of the experts will be sent by post as well on tomorrow as well. And only the thing is that still we are working on the certificate, and that's why just copy this link and we could provide you certificates tomorrow onwards. So excuse me in that way. Just the link is with you, copy it and just fill the feedback form tomorrow at 11 a.m. So sorry for that, but due to some technical problem we couldn't manage it right now. So you will get your certificate tomorrow. Yes, ma'am, continue. Yeah, one clarification. So Shaheen is here. Ma'am, the link given above is for the feedback link of this meeting only, of this workshop only. Only the thing is that we are unable to send certificates tomorrow only. That's why we are not accepting responses right now. So from tomorrow 11 a.m. You will get certificates. So thank you. No, the link, is it not copying or it is not opening? Because we have stopped accepting responses. So just
Link doesn't open, sir.
huh?
Link doesn't open.
No. Just copy it and have it with you on WhatsApp or wherever. Because it's not getting responses. No, we have stopped accepting responses for the time being till tomorrow 11 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why it is not opening. Otherwise, there is no issue. Even those who could not do the things, we have in the morning sent you the link, joining link with email as well. In the same way, we could send you this feedback link with to your email as well. So thank you very much. Yeah, there won't be any problem for certificates to anybody.
Okay.
You can call me. You can send me message. No problem will be there. Please. Okay. So please go on, Komal. Komal, go on. Unmute yourself, Komal. Yes. Still, you are not audible. You are mute, I think. Unmute yourself. Yes. Still, you are not audible. Shaheen Sayyed, do you want to say anything? Okay. Do you want to say something? Okay, you are welcome then. Some problem might have been there. Okay, just Komal, still you are not audible. Shall I go to Prerna? She will express vote of thanks. Prerna, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, go for the vote of thanks, please.
Dignitaries, resource persons, faculty members, and participants as we come to the close of this entitled National Workshop. My pleasant duty to vote of thanks on behalf of the Department of and Staff, Ahmednagar, I express my heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished Principal Dr. Anand Kulkarni sir and Professor Shravan Kumar sir for their inspiring presence and valuable insights. My sincere thanks to our President Professor Dr. Vaibhav Sabnis sir for his constant support and encouragement. A special word of appreciation goes to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Sumna Bandyopadhyay and Dr. Anuj Somraj sir for sharing their expertise on research writing and writing. This will surely benefit our academic journey. I thank Principal Dr. Shankar Shetty sir, convener, for his guidance and my fellow colleagues and organizing team members, Mr. Satish Saigal sir, Mr. Chandrakant Desai sir, Ms. Komal Parekar ma'am, for their tireless efforts in making it possible.
Finally, my heartfelt thanks to all the participants from across the country for your enthusiastic presence. Your active engagement has truly made this workshop a success. With these words, I can vote of thanks, wishing you all continued success in your research endeavor.